Hi everyone. Are you tired of trying to figure out how you can sound more natural in English? Are you tired of trying to figure out how you're going to remember all the things you're studying in English? Today I'm going to help you with both of those things. Welcome to English Coach 3 T's. I'm Tanya, and I have two things to share with you today that are going to help to answer those questions. The first is, anytime you use phrasal verbs, you sound more natural in English, but they're so difficult to remember. Today I have 5 common phrasal verbs to help you, but the second thing I'm going to help you with is how to remember them. So be sure you watch to the end of this video, because not only am I going to give you the phrasal verbs, I'm going to show you how to remember them, and I have one bonus for you. So let's get going. Did you notice that I used a phrasal verb in the very beginning of this video? Do you remember what it was? Figure out. To figure something out is to find an answer to something or to understand something. So I asked you, are you tired of trying to figure out how to sound more natural in English? What I meant was, are you tired of trying to find the answer? Looking everywhere and not knowing exactly what to do. That's trying to figure something out. So now I'm going to give you one of those tips I mentioned. Get out a pencil and paper. Yes, please get a pencil and paper. You can do this on your computer, of course, but studies have shown that if you will use a pencil and paper and write it down old style, that will help you to remember more. What I want you to do is write down the phrase I'm going to give you, and then I'll give you the second part of this tip. So the first phrase I'm going to give you is, I need to figure out how I can remember more of the English I study. Write the phrase down. If you need to, pause the video. All right, the second part of this tip is coming up. We're not going to actually use the second part till we get to the end. So the first thing to do is to write down these 5 phrases. Let's take a look at the second phrasal verb I want to share with you today. To stand out. So the second phrase is, I don't like to stand out in a crowd. I would rather blend in. Write down the phrase. Again, pause the video if you need to. The phrasal verb to stand out means to differentiate or to make something prominent. Some people do like to stand out in a crowd. They like everyone to notice them. Other people don't like to stand out in the crowd. Let me know which one you are. Do you like to stand out, or would you rather blend in? Let me know in the comments below. If you noticed, I gave you a bonus phrasal verb there, to blend in. To blend in is the opposite of to stand out. It has some other meanings too, but we'll get to that in another video. Okay, so far we have to figure out and to stand out. If you like these types of lessons, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss anything here on English Coach 3 T's. Let's get going with the third phrasal verb. The third phrasal verb is to nail down. Of course, we can use this phrasal verb literally when we're talking about a nail and a hammer, and we can nail something down. So for instance, we might say, I need to nail down that board on the deck. I keep tripping over it. But there's another way to use this phrasal verb that may not make as much sense to you, because in a way it's an idiom. We're not talking about literally nailing something down. When we say we want to nail something down, we're asking someone to give us a precise answer. So when I say to give us a precise answer, I mean we want them to be specific about something. So the third phrase is, can we nail down the time for that appointment? What we're saying is, let's agree to the exact time. There are other ways we might say this. We need to nail down our ideas. It means we need to get specific. about our ideas, or we need to nail down that project. It means we've been working on it for a long time, but we really have to come up with an exact answer for that project. Okay, we still have 2 phrasal verbs to go, but before we do that, I want to give you the second tip to remembering these phrasal verbs and a lot of other things that you need to remember. You've written down 3 phrases. Now, I want you to come up with 3 phrases of your own. And I want you to handwrite them like we talked about before, but also type them in the comments below. I know that sometimes this can feel a little nerve-wracking, or maybe it makes you a little nervous, but this is a great way to improve your English. Not only are you making it personal, but you're putting it out there. What do I mean when I say you're putting it out there? It means you're doing exactly what your goal is. You want to get your English in front of other people. You want to speak with other people. So take some time to write your examples, or at least 1 or 2 of them, in the comments below. I will make comments on your examples and help you out where I can. So let's get to the last 2 phrasal verbs. Both of these phrasal verbs use the verb to cut. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen a reel that I did using a phrasal verb that uses the verb to cut. If you don't follow me there, you might want to go over and check that one out for more examples. But for today, let's start with to cut off. We can use the phrasal verb to cut off when we mean to stop something or interrupt it, or to set it apart from other things. So your phrase for to cut off is, yesterday I got cut off in traffic. What this phrase means is you're driving along and suddenly someone pulls in front of you and cuts you off from traffic. They separate you from where you were before. They interrupt you from driving smoothly. You can get cut off from society or cut off from a conversation. Usually when we use the phrasal verb to cut off, something happens that changes what was happening before. So for instance, if we get cut off in a conversation, it could be that someone else interrupted us, or maybe we're talking on our cell phone and we get dropped from our connection. Be sure to use that second tip I gave you, and not only write the phrase I gave you, but write a second phrase that's personal to you. A really common way that I used this phrasal verb when I was a kid was to ask someone to cut off the tag in my clothing. I hate things that are itchy, and so I would ask my mom to cut off the tag. That way my clothing was a lot more comfortable. Number 5 is a great phrasal verb, and it's pretty common: to cut out. We can talk about cutting something out of something else. This is the one that I used over on Instagram. Or we can talk about it figuratively. In other words, we're not actually cutting something out, but rather we're talking about something that's not physically happening with a pair of scissors or a knife. For example, phrase number 5 to write down is, they cut him out of the will. They cut him out of the will. They didn't use scissors. What they did is they decided that he wasn't going to get anything after his parents or his relative died, and so they took his name out of the will. Now, you can be cut out of other things. For instance, if you're in a group of people and they cut you out, it means maybe you're still in the group, but they're not sharing things with you. They're not giving you the information that you need. Make your own example. Think of a time when you were cut out of something and write your example down. I'm going to give you a third tip about what you can do with these examples here in just a little bit. This 5th phrasal verb can be built upon. What I mean is we can add just a little bit to this phrasal verb and it changes the meaning again. Instead of being just to cut out, it would be to be cut out for something. When we say that someone is cut out for something, we mean they're a natural at it. They're very good at it. The example sentence to write down for this one is, I don't think my friend's daughter is cut out for sports. It means maybe it doesn't come easily to her, or maybe she just doesn't like it. Can you think of something that you were cut out for? And think of something that you were not cut out for or you aren't cut out for? Write an example sentence. Okay, I said I was going to give you a bonus phrasal verb, and the bonus is to cut up. To cut up simply means to joke with someone. You've probably heard the phrase, oh, I was just joking. We can say a similar thing by saying, hey, I was just cutting up with you. Or we could say, at work, we like to cut up when we're on break. It means we like to joke around and have fun with each other. I'm going to share that third tip with you now. The third tip is to pick just one of these 5 and practice it for a week. For 1 week, you read it in the morning, and whenever you think of it, you read the example phrase you wrote down. If a week is too long for you, do it for 4 or 5 days, whatever time period works for you. The idea is to get some spaced repetition working for you. Thank you for taking some time for this lesson with me today. If you're ready to learn some more English, YouTube has already chosen a video for you right here, or you might want to try this one over here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.